This video is to show you how to make Frankie the Frog. So this sweet little frog is a completely no-sew project, which means it works up super fast. The only thing we do at the end is add this little bit of embroidery for the mouth. You can also add some cute little pink cheeks if you like. Whatever you'd like at the end to embellish it. I've already made them in a few different types of yarns here. So I've got the Parfait Chunky yarn, and here's a Boheme Velvet double yarn from Hobbii yarns. And then here's the Hobbii Honey Bunny. So the Honey Bunny and Parfait Chunky work up almost identically. And the only difference I have here in my frogs is that with this one, I added in a floral wire so that it made the limbs posable. So I'm going to show you how to do that as we go here, but it's completely optional. For your craft markets and stuff, it'll work up a lot faster with just the regular limbs. But if you want to get fancy and have these cool posable limbs, then I will also show you how to add that wire in there. Okay, so for today's demonstration, I'm going to be using the Hobbii Honey Bunny yarn because I really love this color Shamrock. I think it's the perfect bright frog color. And then for accent colors, I just have Hint of Pink and then a worsted weight yarn. So I'm going to use the worsted weight yarn for the smile, the Hint of Pink just to make little cheeks on there to show you how I did that. And then I also have my H hook. It's a 5.0 millimeter. I like Clover Moor hooks, but use whatever kind of hook you prefer. I have some floral wire. So this is just really thin floral wire. And I just got it at my local dollar store. I'll show you the package here. It'll be completely different. I'm up here in Canada, so it'll probably be different wherever you live. But it's just really thin wire. It's almost like pipe cleaner. You could use pipe cleaner as well if you prefer. And then if you want, you could also use the floral tape just to tie up the ends here so there's no sharp ends that end up poking out later. And we have stitch markers, 10 millimeter safety eyes. And if you want, you could also embroider eyes on there. Needle, scissors, I have stuffing ready to go. So if you're wanting to follow along with a written version of the pattern, there are two options available. One is the free version, which is available on my blog, and two is the paid version that's available on Etsy and Ravelry. So I will link everything in the description below for you. Another thing is you can adjust the playback speed of the video by hitting the cog in the upper right corner and then go to playback speed. And then you can adjust it to be faster or slower depending on your preference. And don't forget, you can always pause the video as well to get caught up or take a break. And that's about it. Let's get started. So to begin making Frankie the Frog, we're going to jump right into making the head and body. So to do that, we're going to start with our magic ring. And like in my other videos, if you don't like making a magic ring or have trouble with using the chenille style yarn and a magic ring, that is completely okay. Just do a chain 2 and place all the stitches for round 1 in the second chain from the hook. So here's the beginnings of my magic ring, and what I like to do is to make sure that the yarn moves through the ring nicely before I start adding stitches in, and then I'm going to add my stitches really loosely for round 1. So for round 1, we're going to do 6 single crochet stitches. Okay, and then to pull my ring closed, I like to grab over here near the first stitch, kind of where that sort of knot was for the ring. I find that helps stretch it out and allows my ring to pull closed easier. There we go. Then we're going to make sure we mark this last stitch with a stitch marker. And we're going to move into round 2. So for round 2, we're going to do an increase round. So we're going to go from having 6 stitches up to 12 stitches. So to do that, we're going to place 2 single crochet stitches into each stitch, or increase in each stitch. Okay, so that's it for round 2. Now for round 3, we're going to do another increase round. We're going to go from having 12 stitches up to 15. And to do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then add 2 single crochets or increase in the stitch after that. So single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then place 2 single crochets or do an increase in the next one. And you're going to repeat that 3 times in total. So okay, so on to round 4. For round 4, we are going to make the bobble stitches for the eyes in this round. But to begin, we're going to start with an increase. So place 2 single crochets in the first stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then 2 single crochets in the next stitch or increase. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to do our bobble stitch for the first eye socket. So to do a bobble stitch, you want to yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. And then we're going to repeat that another 4 times, so 5 times in total, until we have 6 loops on our hook here. So yarn over, insert your hook. You're inserting your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. Okay, so at the end of that, you should have 6 loops on your hook. So you're basically starting 5 double crochet stitches, and then we're going to connect them all at the top here. So to finish off our bobble, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops on the hook. And you want to keep things fairly tight, as that will allow your bobble stitch to stick out further. And then we're going to push over the stitches here to make sure we're working into the actual next stitch. And we're going to single crochet in this next stitch. Again, you want to try and keep this stitch nice and tight so that your bobble stitch sticks out nicely. And then we're going to do an increase or 2 single crochets in this next stitch. And then single crochet in this next stitch. And then we need to do another bobble stitch. So again, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2. We need to do it 3 more times. Again, working in the same stitch for all of this. If you want a more detailed explanation on doing bobble stitches, I'll link the video below for you. So now that we have 6 loops on our hook, we can yarn over and pull through all 6. Tighten that down a little bit so our bobble stitch can show, and kind of pull over and make sure we're working in the next stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in the last 2 stitches of the round to finish off round 4. All right. And then on to round 5. So round 5, this is where we're going to start doing our front legs. So if you'd like to use wire, get that ready. If not, that's okay too. Just ignore all the parts about the wire. So to begin round 5, we'll start by single crocheting in their next stitch. And then we are going to chain 9. And then we're going to start by making our toes. So you don't need the wire yet. We're going to slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So I am working in the back bump of the chain. So here you can see the V that's formed along the chain. So I am flipping that and working in the back bump here all the way through. You don't have to work in the chain that way. That's just how I like to work my chains. So slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain. Then we're going to start our next toe. We're going to chain 3, slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain as well. Then we're going to chain 3 again. This is making the third toe. Slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain. Okay, so at this point you should have 3 little toes here. See those? Okay, so this next part is where you want to grab your wire, because we're going to start working down the main chain that we made right back into the body. So let's grab our wire, and I'm going to measure from about the center of the body here out, and I want to measure to right here. So this is where I'm going to work my next stitch, because I've done all my chains in here, so I need to go back to the main part of my chain, and so that will be worked right here. So I want to measure out my wire from about the center to about that stitch, and I'm going to bend it there and fold it back to the center, and then I'm going to twist this end of the wire, and I want to twist so that the pointy ends are inside the animal, but also so that then I have this little loop here that I can work my next stitch into, and then that means the wire is not going to just pull out of the arm. So what I'm going to do is put my hook through the wire first, and then I'm going to put it through the next stitch. Or sorry, the next chain. And I'm going to do a single crochet working through both of those. So you may find a better way that you prefer for working the wire into the limbs, but this is the way that I found was best for me in terms of adding the wire in so that it couldn't really fall out. And then so we single crocheted in this next chain, and we're going to single crochet in the last 5 chains as well. So when we're working these next single crochets, we're going to keep working around this wire. And again, I'm still working in the back bump of that original chain, but you don't have to do it that way. So I'm working around. And I'm not cutting my wire yet because I want to do the other arm first so that all the ends are right in the center, and I can just use floral tape or use whatever you've got to secure those ends in the center. Okay, so there we go. And then after we've completed the arm, we're going to move back into the head here, and we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. I know that wire can be a little bit fiddly. If you want to figure out where to cut it to make it a little bit easier to deal with, that is okay too. Like I said, you will find your own way that works best for you for this. So there's my 6 single crochet stitches, and then I'm going to start my next arm, and I'm going to chain 9. And I need to make the toes first before I add the wire. So I'm going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain. And then I'm going to chain 3, and I'll slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain as well. Then we're going to make our last toe. So chain 3, slip stitch in the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch in the next chain. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my wire again. I'm going to lay my animal back down here. I'm going to do it this way so it's easier to see. It's a little bit twisted. There we go. Okay. So then make sure that this is pulled out as far as it needs to go. And untangle my wire, I guess. And then I'm going to go to where I'm going to work that next stitch. So it's this part right here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're coming out to here, and then I'm going to bend it there and back in. Now if you end up making it a little bit too long, that's okay. You can adjust it in the middle here. Pull this back in, and then I'm going to twist it up. Okay, that twisted up. Then all the ends are going to be in the center here, and then you just wrap the floral tape. Once you've finished this arm, wrap floral tape around the center. I do have wire cutters, but I can't find them, so I'm just going to use my scissors here. Right. So back over to here. I'm going to turn this around just so I can see it easier. And we're going to place our hook through the loop of the wire first, and then we're going to go through the next chain here. So if it makes it easier, you can mark out these chains as you make them so that they're easier to see, at least until you're used to working in chains like this with the fluffier yarns. So we're going to single crochet here in this stitch, and we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches as well, working around our wire. So I usually put my hook in under the wire. And pull my loop through and then go around like that. Like I said, it can be a little bit fiddly, but the end result is super cute. Okay, then we need to go in here, finish the rest of our round. So we can see that we worked our last stitch here. So we're going to be here next. And we are going to single crochet in the next 11 stitches. All right, so there we are at the end of round 4. And before we hit round 5 here, we're going to add in our eyes as well. So if you've got the wire showing here, that's okay. I found that that kind of happened. What you can do to minimize that though is pull here in the center, and you can, before you add the floral wire, you can actually like twist this way to shorten the arms a little bit, and then fold it down there. See what I mean? Fold it down and then add the tape in there to secure it, and that'll just shorten the arms down a little bit and make the wire less likely to show at the ends. Okay, and then back to the eyes here. So our safety eyes are going to go in our 2 bobble stitches. So we don't really have to count things out here, although I wouldn't put the backs on until you have them both in there to make sure that they're as straight as possible. So I'm not going in the base here where all of our bobble stitch was made. I'm going actually into the bobble stitch. You could work under it if you wanted like that. That's completely up to you. But I'm going in here between sections of the bobble stitch. And then it'll flatten down even more once you add the back to it. And you can always use your needle if you want to fluff up parts if you find that it's not looking even. So I'm adding my backs on, and secure the back of your safety eyes however you like. Okay. So there we go. Now, round 6 to 8, we are going to single crochet in each stitch around. I'm going to do round 6 with you, and then I'll do 7 and 8 off camera. But I want to do round 6 so that I can show you how to work around the legs here, because the legs aren't part of the stitches that we're working. So the first stitch is worked right on this side of our first leg or arm, whatever you'd like to call it. And then our next stitch won't be here. This is our chain that's starting here. You got to move over to the other side of the leg. So put the leg in front of you. And you got to find the next single crochet stitch. So see how there's a bit of a hole there? That is where your chain comes back down. And this here is where your next stitch is. So you want to make sure that you're counting your stitches, especially after this round, to make sure you still have 18. So we've got 1, then 2, okay, so this is number 7. Number 7 happens just before the next arm. So again, this goes up. This was our chain going up, and our stitches coming back, and then we've got our hole, and then over here is where our next stitch is to work. So put that arm in front, work your 8th single crochet here. Okay, then we have 10 more to go. Okay, so now that we have those legs out of the way and you can clearly see your stitches, For the next 2 rounds, I'm going to do them off camera, but you will just single crochet in each stitch for each of the next 2 rounds. So after round 8, you should still have 18 stitches. So see, now you can see where you're working. Okay, and then I will meet back here to show you how to do round 9. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of round 9, and round 9 is a decrease round. So we're going to go from having 18 stitches down to 15. And to do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then do a single crochet decrease. So again, single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then do a single crochet decrease. And you want to repeat that 3 times in total. Single crochet in the next 4. And then decrease. On to round 10. Now round 10, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. So you'll start with 15 stitches and end with 15 stitches. Okay, so after round 10, we're going to begin stuffing a little bit. You don't need to add too much in there yet, but especially if you're using a thinner yarn, you want to start stuffing because you want to make sure that you can get your yarn right into that nose area, the front, around the eyes. Pack it in around the wire, especially if you haven't used any floral tape to sort of hold the wire in place. You want to add stuffing. I'm just making these for decorations around here, so I'm not worried about children like finding the ends of the wire or anything. But if you are gifting to kids, I would make sure that you wrap the wire ends with tape. Probably enough for now. And then I'm going to start round 11 here, and round 11 is a decrease round as well. So you're going to go from having 15 stitches down to 12. So to do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then do a single crochet decrease and repeat that 3 times. So single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then do a single crochet decrease. All right, then we're on to round 12. So for round 12, we need to begin by lining up where the back legs are going to go. So to do that, we're going to place the animal on the hard surface again, and I want the legs facing up, the eyes face down, and the opening to be away from you. And then we're going to figure out where the center 5 stitches are So start with the center first. For me, the center is right here. And then mark out 2 stitches on either side of that. You don't have to necessarily add stitch markers, but take note of where the stitches are. I like to add the stitch markers just to give you an extra visual in the video of what we're doing here. So these stitches will be the stitches in between the 2 back legs. And then what we're going to do is we're going to count over 1 stitch to the right of those stitch markers. And if you're left-handed, it's 1 stitch to the left because you'll be coming around from the other direction. And I want this stitch to be the next stitch for round 12. Sorry, to be the first stitch for round 12, I guess is the easier way to put it. So that means that I need to crochet 1 more stitch to get there. It may mean that you're in the exact right spot. It may mean you need to take out a stitch. Whatever you need to do, you want to make sure that the first stitch of round 12 is the stitch 1 to the right or to the left if left-handed of your stitch markers. So there we go. We're in there. It's a good thing because my stitch markers are falling out on me. And then I am going to start round 12 by single crocheting in the next stitch, and then I'm going to chain 18. So the back legs are quite a bit longer than the front ones. So again, we're chaining 18. That's 1, 2, and just like with the front legs or arms, whatever is easier for you. And just like with the front legs, we're going to slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. And then we're also going to slip stitch in the next chain. And then we're going to start our second toe. So chain 3. And again, slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. Slip stitch in the next chain. Then chain 3 again. Slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. And then slip stitch in the next chain. So then you have your 3 toes there. Then we can see here, this is the next chain here on that sort of main chain that we made. So this is where we're going to work next. But before we do that, we want to stretch out the leg and add the wire. So if you're not adding wire, just continue crocheting down the chain. If you are, then you want to measure out the center again like we did the last one. It can be a little fidgety. Find where the next chain is. And we're going to fold it in half. And we'll twist it up so that there's a loop on the one end. Again, if you want to try and add your wire after or not use wire, that is totally okay. So we're going to put the loop on the crochet hook, and then we're going to single crochet in this next chain and also in the next 14 chains. And we're going to work around the wire as we go. All right, so now that we've finished the leg, we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches of the body. Move my wire out of the way. Again, I like to leave the wire attached so that the same piece goes through both legs. Single crochet in the next 5 stitches. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and chain 18. And then we'll slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. Slip stitch in the next chain. Then chain 3 will make the next toe. Slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. Slip stitch in the next chain. And we'll chain 3 one more time here. Slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. Slip stitch in the next chain. And then we're going to grab our wire here and make our final measurement before single crocheting back down that leg. Use that over here. Okay. So measure out to where the next stitch is going to be worked here. Fold it back. And I'm going to cut it here around the center and twist it up. I twisted up the poor guy's leg while I went here. Oh dear. All right. There we go. And to see it, it's easier on this side for me. I want to make sure that I go through the loop next, and then I'm going to go through that next chain on that main chain that we made going out. And do my single crochet, and then you're going to single crochet in the next 14 chains all the way up the leg, working around the piece of wire. All right, so there's the second leg. Now I'm going to twist that wire in some more so that it doesn't end up sticking out. Okay, and if you find that the wire's too visible on the ends, you can twist your wire and fold it up to make it a little bit less visible. Don't forget to use that floral tape if you have it. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to finish the round by single crocheting in the next 5 stitches. Or sorry, 6 stitches, because I didn't move my stitch marker. When I placed that extra stitch there, I should have moved my stitch marker. There we go. So yeah, so we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. on to the next round, which is round 13. And for this round, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So again, like when we worked the round after the front legs, we're going to have to figure out which stitches are on the round and which ones are on the leg. So we know that we did 1 single crochet to begin that round. And then we're going to flip that leg in front. You can see a bit of a hole there, so this is our single crochet right next to it. Single crochet there, and then we have another 4 single crochets before we get to our next leg. And put the leg in front again and go and find that next stitch. It's right here next to the little hole. Single crochet there, and then single crochet in those last 5 stitches. So go ahead and double check at the end of the round that you still have 12 stitches. And then what you want to do is you want to finish stuffing. Okay, so there's the end of round 13. So go ahead, finish stuffing the body here of the frog. Make sure you go around the wire if you used wire. This guy doesn't require too much stuffing. You want to make sure you kind of fill it out. You always want to stuff a little bit more than what you think you need because it will settle a bit. All right, then on to our final round, round 14. So we're going to go from having 12 stitches down to 6. And to do that, we're going to decrease 6 times. So again, I'm doing an invisible decrease. I'm going to do it 6 times. If you want to learn in more detail how to do invisible decreases, all of those are in my beginners tips and tricks playlist. That's linked below for you. The trick when you're doing so many in a row is to keep them nice and tight. All right, then I'm just going to slip stitch to the next stitch and end off. And you want to leave about 6 inches or so to cinch the end together. So if you need more stuffing, you can probably add some more in there with the end of your crochet hook. I'm just going to sort of flatten my little dude out here a bit. And I'll cinch up the back. And then all we have left to do is to add that little smile and the cheeks on if you want. We're almost there. Next up, we'll add the little smile. So to do that, you can use embroidery floss, you can use worsted weight yarn, you could probably use like the honey bunny or chenille style yarns if you'd like. You only need about 12 inches or so, maybe not even that. We'll thread our needle. If you want to have a thinner mouth, you could separate the plies here too and just use part of the yarn. But I'm going to use the full size here. All right, so then we want to look in the center here. So I'm kind of going down around the inside of this eye and around, coming out around the inside of this eye. And I'm pretty well going across the center here. So it's tricky just because of the way the rounds change in this section. But if you go by where the eyes are located, I think it'll make your smile pretty even. So we're going to push our hook through there, and you want to leave a couple inches at the end here. And then you want to come back around and insert your needle into the same spot that you just inserted it. And then you want to go down. I'm kind of following sort of the curve of the rounds here. It depends how big you want your smile. But I'm going to come out about here. So basically what I want is I want this piece coming across to stay put in a smile shape. And then I want to have 2 points down here that sort of hold it there. So I'm pulling this out here like that. And then I'm going to insert my needle back in the same spot. And so see how we came out on one side of this main piece of yarn, main smile, and then we're going back on the other just to hold it in place. And then we're going to come back out over here on one side of that sort of main piece, and then we're going to go back in the same spot but on the other side of the yarn. And then we're going to come out here where we started. So that's how I like to do my smiles. So this one has a ginormous smile. So you may want to go in up here if you want like to make it less of a smile. I'm just going to leave this guy like this because I think he's cute. But yeah, adjust the smile to your liking. And then if you want, you can also grab your pink. Just pull in my ends here first. So I always tie the knot near that sort of insertion point. So then the knot pulls right into my animal when I pull the ends through. Oh, and if the smile kind of disappears, you can go ahead with your needle, sort of bring it back. Okay, then you can just cut these ends. All right, if you want cheeks then, I'll just grab, I don't know, I guess about 12 inches or so again. And you can experiment with where to put them. Now, with some of my examples, I put them right on the ends of the smile, but you could also go further back here if you wanted and just add a little bit of a highlight. I'm literally just going under sort of one stitch 2 to 3 times. And then instead of having to end off twice, you can just reach over to the next side and do this, and then come back to tie off. So what I mean by that is I'm going to reach through here to this other side and try to make it as even as possible. So I want to come out about here. Like that. So we just made a little bit of a cheek there. And we'll go through here 2 to 3 times. Oh, and then we'll come back to where this tail is so that I can tie off easy. So there we go. And then you can pose your frog however you like. You can be swimming, or you can have him hopping. Whatever you'd like. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.